Howdy, how y'all doing today? I want to talk about work, careers, and passion. You know, I became self employed back in 2001, and I had a passion, and the passion was leadership. I wanted to talk about leadership, I wanted to write about leadership, I wanted to travel all over the country and speak to people about leadership. That's how I wanted to make my money. That's how I wanted to live my life, talking about leadership. I've always been good at leadership. So that's what I decided I wanted to do. And you know what? I've done some of it, but I've not done a lot. Matter of fact, I've done very little. I've written some books on leadership, but I haven't spoken that much on leadership since probably 2006, 2007. It's a tough field to get into. There's a lot of people who are in leadership. And even though I've talked to a lot of people all across the country, some in other countries, believe it or not, and I've talked about leadership, I haven't really made money off of it. It's been a tough career. And I had a passion for it. As a matter of fact, the first real gig I got was a healthcare gig. Now, I'd worked in healthcare at that point, I think it was 18 years, 17, 18 years. And I wanted to get out of healthcare. I was good at it, but I just didn't see it as being a sustainable business. And you know what? It turned out to be a lot more sustainable than healthcare. But I'm in a weird spot now because, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm now 60 years old. I'm still considered self-employed, but I'm a full-time caregiver for my mother. And I don't really have a passion for anything anymore, and that's troubling. I mean, passion used to be blogging and writing, and I don't really have a passion for that anymore. Used to be talking about social media, don't really have that anymore. Like I said, about leadership and healthcare, you know what? It pays when I get gigs, but I hate marketing. I, hate having to have people kind of question you who don't really know what they're talking about. And when you give them the right answers, they look at you strange because, like I said, they don't know what I'm talking about. And it's a weird thing. And I'm here to tell you that sometimes looking for your passion and saying, you know what, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life is not always the smart way to go. There's this guy, Mike Rowe. Some of you may know him. He had a show called Dirty Jobs. And he highlighted a guy in some country. I really can't remember what country it was. And this guy did this thing with some kind of animals. I don't really remember. I just remember that it wasn't a good job. But he made tons of money. He was the only guy in the area who did it. And so what he did is he did this job, and then he used his money to travel because that was his passion, was traveling. And he figured he could put up with doing this other job because he got a bunch of money from it so that he could travel all over the world. And I thought that was interesting because there's this guy named Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor was in the movie The Secret. He's been a motivational guy for the longest time, And one of the things that he said is that when he was first getting his life really together, he founded a cleaning company. And he said, you know what, I was a millionaire. I made tons of money, but I didn't enjoy it. I had no fun with it. And what he decided at that time was, I want to, inspire people to do other things. And the difference, of course, with him is that he was already rich, so he sold his business for even more money. And then he could go on this quest. And he's made a lot of money since then because if you can really be passionate at your job, you can make a lot of money. But that doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes you have to figure out, okay, what is your real passion? Maybe your passion is travel. Maybe your passion is baking. Maybe it's writing, and anything else. Maybe you want to write a novel, but you need to protect yourself. You need to have some money behind you to pay your bills, to eat, to, have at least a little enjoyment here and there. That's just how life works. So it doesn't necessarily sound like this is the most motivational thing, but it is the most logical thing I got to tell you. So that's what I got today. My name is Mitch Mitchell. I hope y'all have a wonderful week.